Hello folks, and welcome back to the Vertigo Tea Party, and let's play Bloodborne. Today's episode is brought to you by Thomas. Thank you, Thomas, for your continued support on Patreon. I very much appreciate it. So, first things first, I'm back here because someone in the comments, and I had his name up, or her name up before, and I apologize, I don't have it up now. But thank you for mentioning this weapon that's over here. Technically, it's a spoiler and breaks my rules, but really at this point, am I really following my own rules? So while I get to the weapon, because I think I saw it, like I came over here before to find it, and I'm just coming back now to get it, and of course I forgot these enemies were here. Now, the main reason I don't have his name up is, well, there's a reason for it, let's put it that way. I'm actually recording this post-commentary because I lost the audio. I'm not going to go into why and how I lost it, because I'll just get incredibly angry all over again and punch something again. Let's just say that I lost about an hour and a half of recording, and we'll be doing post-commentary. I apologize. I know most of you probably don't like post-commentary. I do not. But here we are anyway. So anyway, that was not the weapon. So I'm like, okay, well, there's obviously another way to get down there because we saw another item inside that building. Now it looks like we have to clear some of these guys out. I just noticed, too, that guy has red eyes. I think maybe I noticed that before. It seemed like they had red eyes if they were buffed, like that one person nearby did the screech or something, and then they did more. I know the werewolves do that. But anyway, let's see if we can look around and find out where that is. I am not good at post-commentary, so I apologize in advance. It is kind of weird watching myself play and then commentating over it. It's not really something I normally do. I don't really have anything else interesting to talk about other than you know, me just slashing away at these enemies. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk about this weapon a little bit more. This weapon is obviously damn good. I'm looking for doors and ways to get over there into the building where the item is. By the way, I'm not just randomly hitting stuff, I promise. There's my current stats. I think I leveled once off camera. I'm starting to put points in, I think I switched to Vitality. No, I think I switched to Strength. That's right. I'm starting to put points into Strength to get my my damage up. I'm probably gonna go to 25 Strength going forward, and then from once I hit 25, I will probably actually put points into Vitality. I keep saying once a Vitology. Wow, every single word with a V is very difficult for me to say apparently. I don't know why I didn't like that Pearl Jam album. Then again, neither did anyone else on the planet. But yeah, I'm going to put points in Strength, I think, until 25. That's the first quote-unquote soft cap. I kind of talked about that before. Again, here I'm kind of looking down because I know that item is in this building. I just have to figure out how to get to it. So I was thinking, maybe it's like a hidden wall or something like that. Even though we haven't run into anything like that up until this point. There's not been any illusory walls, anything along those lines. So here I'm looking down, and see, you have to admit, the Dark Souls games, or just the Souls games if you prefer, do have a bit of a problem where sometimes there's ledges and places that you should be able to drop to, but because you're not supposed to go there, the game doesn't let you. It'll either kill you instantly, like it did with the elevator shaft that I jumped down, or it'll be like an invisible wall, or you'll slide off. It doesn't do it a lot, but it does happen once in a while. I think it's going back up here to check around. But let's go back to talking about this weapon. I love the damage of this weapon. I love the range. And I love that it staggers. But it's kind of, honestly, it's kind of a boring weapon to use. It's fun in that it does seem to have, it feels like it has a big impact. Just because of just the sound it makes. The effect it has on the environment, the effect it has on enemies, causing even the bigger enemies to stagger. But it lacks the stuff that the whip has. Alright, so now I'm looking, it's like, okay, I could drop down straight down, maybe. But then there's that little path there, and this guy says, hidden pathways ahead. Therefore, those with faith will be spared. He's got his emote pointing forward. So hinting that, yes, this is a path. So let's try to jump. Okay. Good. At first I'm like, alright, let's see if we can make... Nope, that doesn't work. I thought maybe I could scooch across. Obviously didn't work too well. So now I'm just kind of worried about, again, I'm just paranoid, again, kind of metagaming it, thinking if I drop down, I might just auto-die. I don't know why the game doesn't do that much. I'm just still gun-shy after the elevator incident. Elevator gate. Oh, wait, no, let's not do that. There already is an incredibly stupid elevator gate that I'm not even going to go into. Regardless, So we're okay. We're alive. We're looking mighty handsome. I guess we look handsome behind that grotesque mask. And let's take a look inside of here. Hopefully this isn't too dark on YouTube. Used to be, if a video was dark at all, YouTube would just make it 10 times darker. They seem to have fixed that, because I used to have to brighten up and contrast up my videos if in an area like this, or else it would be almost pitch black. I don't seem to have to do that as much. Obviously, I'm watching this in my my video editor, Sony Movie Studio, for those of you who are interested, for some weird reason. But it is totally fine here. It's dark, but it's visible. So here I'm trying to look around. I see there's something up there. I'm going to try to sneak up on this guy. And of course he triggers and sees me. Because again, this game has serious issues with sneaking up. I guess you could argue his little side buddies saw me. I'm not sure, but I think I was trying to lunge attack him there. Expert dodge. Hit 2 enemies just like I planned. Actually, I kind of did plan that. Alright, now I'm switching to the faster weapon just because I prefer that on these guys. I don't really need the range. I'd rather just get in and hit them quickly because they only take like 2 to 3 hits. Now, you'll notice here, notice how these enemies normally do not like the torch. The ones with the claws over their head obviously normally don't care, but these usually will stagger back. They might attack you once, but most part they'll attack and then run away. These guys never at any point stagger, and you think they would be even worse because it's very, very dark in here. But they just don't for some reason. There's definitely some inconsistencies that I found in the game that I dislike. In particular with AI and how the enemies react to you, how they detect you, things of that nature. So I'm going to switch to the bad boy for this, because I know I can get him faster, and I can do that and pretty much stagger him to death, and that's all she wrote. The other problem I have with this weapon, as I talked about before with the whip, you have cool combos, right? So I can, if I'm in sword, or if I'm in whip mode, I can R1 a few times and then L1 to switch to the cane and quickly push them back to kind of get them away. And you can kind of go in reverse, do the cane a few times and switch to the whip, even though I find that to be too slow. Let's make sure that's not a mimic. It isn't. I don't know if this game has them, but I expect that it'll have something like a trap or something along those lines. That's so much blood from those little hits trying to get my health back, but let me do it. That's fine. You didn't do that much damage in the first place. Got a Tempering Blood gemstone. I think we have a bunch of those. So far, most of the gemstones have been pretty boring. It's just like plus gooder, like plus slightly more damage than the other thing. But I'm sure we'll get some more interesting later on. Again, just still looking for illusory walls. Just because I haven't found any yet doesn't mean they don't exist. I have a weird glow around my head too, I noticed, with the fire, the way it does the fire in the darkness. Again, it could be the TV. I'm actually watching big screen on my TV here, which is my second monitor, which is pretty handy for video editing. But regardless. So yeah, I'm just kind of checking around, looking for items. And here we go, the rifle spear. And if we'll take a look, let's go ahead and take a look at this weapon. It's right there. What, are you blind? It's right there. What am I doing? There we go. The damage is pretty weak right now. Obviously, it's not upgraded. Trick weapon crafted by the Workshop Heretics. A prototype weapon serve as a simple firearm and spear, possibly created in imitation of Lost Cane Horse weapon. Lacks any notable function, saving that is the only trick weapon with an attached gun. As you can see, it doesn't scale worth a damn. Right now, strength E, skill D. And I think it does a little better, and I think I do upgrade this later off camera. And I know I've messed with this weapon a little off camera. It's kind of cool. It's nice for poking. It seems to push enemies back a fair amount, so it's nice for that. I don't know if I will bother upgrading it too much. The Red Moon hangs low, and beasts rule the streets. Are we left no other choice than to burn it all to cinders? Well, apparently not, because a lot of this place has been in fact burned to cinders, or at least busted up pretty bad. So here is this item, Charred Hunter Garb. So just chest, gloves, and boots. No helm with that set. And yes, we'll actually see here that I am actually in that window that I was looking at from the outside. Even though, was there a door to the outside down below? I thought there was. It always throws me off when these creatures like twitch, like when you like reload a dead enemy, they twitch a little bit because I think it despawns them when you run away for memory reasons. And then when you come back, they kind of put them, they try to sneak them back on there, but then the physics kick in, so they'll twitch or they'll fall. There's our moveset, the R1. There's a charge attack, forward in R1. That's R2, I think. That's the neutral jump back R1. Neutral jump back R2, which I don't think R2s ever have a neutral jump back special. That's the rolling R1, rolling R2. Pretty relatively standard. A good range on these things. I like the R2 just kind of slams it down. That's the morph. So this is more of a, like, makes it in more to a, I think that's R1. R2. What do you call that? That kind of weapon where it's kind of like a spear, but you slash with it. I'm totally blanking on the name of what that is emulating, but that was a jumping R1. That was a neutral jump back R1. Neutral jump back R2. Pretty similar movesets on both. And now I'm going to try the combos here in just a second. Apparently, I just want to make my armor move around too. R1, L1. I think I did that wrong. R1, L1. So switching from that to the other thing actually causes you to change over and shoot. But it seems to be only that one way. So R1. Oh, okay, that was R1, R2, I believe. But anyway, so yeah, now we're moving on. I finally decided to go back and do these 3 bosses, the Merciless Watcher, because it's been bugging me that I haven't beat them yet. So a little bit of a spoiler warning, this may take a little time. But yeah, you know, to kind of wrap up, I guess, my thoughts on the weapon. I like the whip, one, because it's a whip, and I just found there was more uses for it. Like, I had uses, I feel like with the whip, I used it in cane mode, maybe 40, well, maybe like 30% of the time, 35% of the time. With this weapon, I feel I use the regular short sword or long sword, whatever you want to call it, not the giant two-handed greatsword mode. The other mode, like 15% of the time. I like the more balanced weapons. Just here, I want to check out the Molotovs. Molotovs. I always say Molotov, don't I? It is Molotov. But yeah, obviously these guys won't come down. We got 2 guys with melee weapons, 1 with a ranged. Obviously the trick is to try to get you up there and then double team you while the ranged guy hits you, and you'll pretty much just non-stop get staggered and go from full to help. Oh god. Oh yeah. I know I didn't need this reminder. God damn. I definitely did not need this reminder. Obviously, this guy blew up real quick. We are grossly over-leveled for this, I think. I think it's pretty safe to say. I was going to see if I could get the shooting guy a little bit closer here. And then this guy comes over, and he's like he will not go past there. Even less than the other one. So I'm just going to go over here and see if I can't kind of do the same thing and cheese him down just a little bit. And yeah, this is a pretty cheesy, but hey. Using them tactics, son. He's like, and I think he's like just out of range. I actually probably should have went ahead and switched to the whip here. The whip might actually be able to make it to him some of those times. And again, perfectly executed, just like I planned. Molotov hit both of them at the same time. So good at video games, it's ridiculous. So I thought about Molotoving them, but you know, I'm really low. I was so close to cheesing him through the floor there. I'm hoping he does what his little brother does and just falls off, because not only does him falling off obviously give me access to him, the AI, generally speaking in most games, see, yeah, we got him there, cheesily. 221 damage to the floor, I'll take that. But a lot of games with this type of leashing AI, if you can get them to come further than they're supposed to, like significantly further, by doing a special attack that takes them far away, or like with the other enemy making them fall off, things like that, the AI will because you know how normally if you kind of get them right on the edge, if you run up to hit them, like there's not much wiggle room, and by the time you go to attack, they've backed up enough that they're back in attack mode. But if you can get them to go significantly far away, I found often in these types of games that the AI will be like, oh shit, I'm completely out of position, I have to get back to where I was. Like, that's priority number 1. and the game will just completely ignore everything else. Now, see, here we're already seeing kind of what they wanted to happen, where you kind of keep getting chain hit. You get hit by the melee, the guy shoots you, and like now the other guy's ready to hit you again, and God forbid the other one's still alive. And I knew that hitting that column was a danger, but I thought I was far enough away not to get knocked back, but it happened anyway. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, a lot of times for these games, if you get the AI far enough away, they will just completely ignore you until they get back to a point, like whatever that invisible line is. I pushed myself down a little bit too far. They'll rush to get there, and you can get a whole bunch of free hits on them, which would have probably happened with the other guy, but he died so fast anyway, it didn't really matter. And I apologize, this is not super fun to watch, but I definitely didn't feel like doing these guys again. Even that Nick was like 265. This weapon is just so good. Like, it's just, like, it doesn't seem to have, oh, there he goes. So now we just have the shooter guy. And all right, here you're thinking, okay, well, I could just rush him and probably be done with it. But honestly, I'm expecting him to have some kind of insane melee attack that exactly, you know, to catch you doing that, just rushing at him because you think, oh, it's just the range guy, I can finish him off. It's like, oh, he's just going to hit me with his lamp and do insane damage, which he did. He hit me with it, but he didn't do insane damage with it. But see, that's the thing. Look at this weapon. Look at him. Well, I mean, obviously ignoring the damage, it's staggering them. That's so big, especially in this game. Yes, it's a slow weapon. Yes, it takes a lot of stamina. But it staggers. It staggers the enemies. And again, in this game, that's so important, especially when you consider in the recovery mechanic. It's so important because now you're like, oh shit, this enemy hit me. If I can get in and get one hit in, I can probably get a significant amount of my life back if it's just one, maybe two enemies, because I'll just chain stagger them and kill, or just flat out kill them, and I can beat on their corpses to get my health back. Oh God, please close your legs. Holy hell. What's wrong with you, From? Jesus. Oh, man, that upskirt. Not what I wanted today. But my problem with the weapon is on a non-mechanical level, I guess on a non-power level, I feel it's boring. I just wanted to see, just try it, see what I could, if that levered anything. But yes, on a enjoyment level, it's not as interesting as the whip. I just find like multiple modes of the whip, multiple combinations, like just a standing R1, a standing R2. Even though they're very similar, they have different uses. The neutral jump back R1 that I love, but usually don't use because I'm almost always holding back. The dashing R1 on both modes of the whip is very, very similar, to be fair. And the R1 into L1 combos, I very much enjoy those too. So I just felt like there was a lot of options and a lot of variety with the whip. With this weapon, I just don't feel that way. I mean, I almost always use the big version, just because it's just so good. It does such an insane amount of damage. And I, use forward R2 a lot, because, it's got such good range that if you time it right, you can do a ton of damage to an enemy and obviously stagger them. And now you notice here I'm using the sword. One thing I do, and we'll call this mode the, call this the long sword, and we'll call the other one like the, what's it called? Not grand sword, great sword. Great sword, yeah, great sword, that's not right either, but we'll just do it that. We'll call long sword and great sword. Long sword being the shorter one. Hello, there. I hate that bullshit of invulnerability. I bet they don't give you that invulnerability. Kick him right on back down there. Whatever. So, another pit of bodies and blood and guts and cages and other horrible shit. I'm sure it's infested with all kinds of bugs too. That's wonderful. But yeah, I just don't. I do like the long sword, because it's still not really a short sword. It's just not as wide. But I do like the longsword's speed. So if I'm in a more tight area, or if I'm exploring in a tight, especially if I'm exploring tight area or around corners. Hello there, giant centipede-looking thing. I'm just going to assume it's a friendly NPC, probably a quest giver, probably gives a really good weapon, or it could shoot fireballs. One of those two things. It's sending me messages. And this red skeleton, you know what that means. We've got at least one bell lady, and it looks like we see her there. So I'm going to keep my short sword, I think, or my long sword. Oh, no, I'm not. Look at that. Look how poorly like I timed that. I don't know how I hit that enemy. Oh, we got Idaho here. We got Mr. Potato Sack. Yes, I'm calling him Idaho. I have Idaho or Potato Sack. I don't know which one of those I like more. Which one is more stupid? It's probably really hard to pick one, I know, but